Hi, welcome back to Keep It Dirty, a podcast where my guests share their life living functionally and sustainably, and the why behind their experiences navigating through our ever changing environment. I am your host, Leslie Dowling. I'm a corporate speaker sharing how one can jumpstart your path to increased revenue and productivity through restorative health techniques. And today it is my pleasure to introduce to you my guest, Michele O'Brien. Michele is the owner of Full Moon Blends, which is all natural, clean beauty, aromatherapy products, which is hand blended. So it's a pleasure to see you again. We actually physically met, not virtually, 2 years ago in Cape May when you had all your amazing different blends of aromatherapy products. I have your body oil, your rollers, the spray, the different sprays, the bath salts. So thank you for being here and taking the time to be on my show.
Thank you, Leslie. It's been a long time coming. I'm excited to be here. I love what you do, and I think it's important to get the message out about, natural and transparent products. So very happy to be here.
Oh, that's awesome. So I'd love to kind of backtrack. Is this something that there was somebody in your formative years that kind of inspired you to do like more all natural ways or approaches in life? So maybe you could share that with everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I think by nature, I was just a curious person, and I love to delve into skincare, health, and beauty. But I was curious about what was in it. So the science behind it. And I think what kind of came up for me was, can Mother Nature offer us more pure natural solutions? So I started dabbling myself by reading about essential oils and how to, make therapeutic blends that might help for certain things. And I became really fascinated. And I actually studied, I lived in New York for some time. I lived in Ireland for some time. So I tapped into some of their workshops and resources and took classes with an aromatherapist one-on-one. And it really sparked a passion for me that I sort of carried for probably 15 years before I decided this could be a potential business.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear more about, so you were in Ireland. I
Yes,
just find that the European countries really take into account your entire body, not just your face.
they
Now,
do.
things have shifted and changed over the past 20 years, but I would always say, what about your whole body? We need
Yes.
to, give some TLC to the entire body. So, what was your experience with in Ireland, and
Yeah.
what do they use there that's different?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty similar. I lived there for 5 years. My husband's from Ireland, so I had the pleasure of living there before we relocated and started our family back in America. Um, but yeah, I mean, definitely more essential oils, more like arnica was the first time I learned about it there and how it's good for bruising and swelling. Um, pulsatilla, the boron
Mhm.
supplements to use for sort of natural respiratory or sinus issues, headache issues. So I kind of tapped into some of that natural medicine. From an essential oil point of view, I mean, we're close to France, so there's tons of lavender essential oil that comes over that's a lot cheaper to buy in Ireland than it is in America. But that's really what kind of started my journey there. And then when I moved back to the States, I decided to get certified so that I could actually bring the science and art together and have that confidence of not just blending for my friends and family, which I did and they loved, but how could I make this a business where people that I don't know can feel like, trust me as a source and have the confidence in the products I'm blending, and then, hopefully become customers that I work with and help over the years.
Well, and we would love to know how did you come up with Full Moon Blends as your name?
Yes. It's funny. It's hard to go forward with an idea for me personally unless there's a name for it. So
Mhm.
I study journalism and I probably have 25 unfinished books, but unless I have the title or I have the character's name right, it was almost like I meditate daily. So this name came to me. I've always been fascinated by the moon. I'm a July baby. I'm a moon child. And come to find out, I only researched this after I picked that name. I was born on a full moon. So I felt like the stars sort of aligned. Yeah. Um, so I always felt that we could harness the power of the moon. I love the feminine nature of it, the mystery. I love that people get a little frightened by it. Oh, it's a full moon. We're going to feel a little crazy. But what I find is that energy is so strong, that intuition is so strong. And if you can capture it and pull it in, then maybe it could be for the good. So that's kind of what I've done with my blends. I try to blend on a full moon. I have crystals that I use in my oil blends, in my sprays that match different things that match, with the essential oils and the therapeutic, properties I'm trying to convey. So with that synergy, right, it's a little bit stronger because I've got the moon's energy with it. So
that's really fascinating. Actually, I was drawn to your booths. It was the energy. I'm so tapped into that, the full moon, and I would love to know, since we just had a solar eclipse,
yes,
how powerful is that to create, the oils, or maybe you could speak into that.
yeah, absolutely. Anytime there's a new moon, an eclipse is special. I mean, this was a once in a lifetime event. So of course I had my crystals out, but really the moon is the time to charge them and to harness that energy. But anytime we have like a lunar manifestation or something going on, I do really think that energy comes down to earth, and, we can embody that. We can use it to our advantage, and hopefully propel and use momentum to push forward. So I always think of like, solar eclipses and full moons as, a way to illuminate your life and illuminate the things that you want to identify to go towards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really interesting. I've never met anyone that has really been tapped into the new moon, full moon, and when you should be blending, which is really just so amazing. And also to be certified.
Yes.
That's something that not everybody can say that they're certified aromatherapist. So maybe you could speak into that and just share with us, what
Sure.
did you have to do for that?
Yeah, well, it was an online-based course. I studied with the School of Aromatic Studies. It's one of the first online certification courses that were approved by the NAHA. So that's our board of National Aromatherapy, National Association of Aromatherapy. Yeah. So anyway, the association. So it's accredited. And that's what kind of drew me to that program specifically. But what I loved about it, it was very dynamic. I have lifetime access. So as new things get published, I can download. So I'm constantly staying abreast of new things. Obviously sustainability with oils, where we're sourcing things, new studies that come out, what works well in university settings or in hospitals or medical care, so that kind of stuff is constantly changing and updating. So I have access to all of that. And it was fascinating for me to kind of learn the art and science, the chemical components of flowers and herbs and plants and the oils we use from them. And then what their blending factors are. What do they work well with? What carrier oils bring the most potential for that property that we want to convey with the oil? And then from there, the dilution rates and, the perfumery notes, the top, middle, bottom of how they layer up. So not just how do the oils work together therapeutically, but how do they smell? How do they make you feel when you're sensing them?
Wow. And with that, since you started, how have you seen just the evolution of people using that? I guess you could Google everything, so people are more educated. How has your business shifted and changed?
Well, it's interesting. I started Full Moon Blends in 2019. It was the end of 2019. And as we know, in 2020, the pandemic hit. So I had this wonderful idea to have a brick and mortar shop in the neighborhood and, go to markets and things, and that just shut the whole thing down. But what was really cool is I was able to pivot, build an online presence. So I have an Etsy site you could buy from my website at fullmoonblends.com. And then, of course, I think a lot of communities, Cape May was one of them. I'm in the Philadelphia area, but those communities really embrace local markets, embrace the artisans that were coming in with small batch goods. And I was, of course, one of them. So I was lucky enough to kind of jump in and really meet people face to face, which I think was such a unique opportunity as a small business owner to really have that relationship with customers, to talk with them, to find out what ails them, right? What can I do to help them? What things do they know? And I've been taught things from my customers. But what's really fantastic is to be able to cultivate that relationship and see those same people again and again at, annual events that happen. Obviously we were the Cape May, on the promenade, the artisan fair, all the different events that happen. So that was actually a blessing in disguise, I think.
Wow. And yeah, we really, when everything shut down, like my speaking engagements in businesses, people were not going into the office. It was creating this hybrid movement, which we really, that was a new term. And so I had to learn how to figure out how to do things virtually. So online.
Right.
So it's really the best of both worlds.
Yes.
And my Vishla, it's always like, so if your background, it's only my dog, everyone. So, and sense of community. I mean, through this new venture, you've probably met so many awesome people.
Really have.
And you find a network of people that are in that same role and just really sharing. I would love to hear more about like packaging or,
Mhm.
like, do you ship overseas and what are some of the rules? Have they changed with
Yeah.
essential oils?
Right. Yeah. So actually, because I'm on Etsy, I am able to ship abroad. I also do like a wholesale relationship with Fair, which is a really nice one for small businesses. So I have some nasal inhalers that were shipped to Sweden, which is pretty exciting. They're out in a salt therapy place, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, the rules haven't shifted too much in terms of what I can ship and such.
Yeah.
What's interesting to me though is like the brick and mortar, finding essential oils popping up in like Target and Walmart and pharmacies, Rite Aid. You can just buy things off the shelf, and you have to be really careful about that, I think, as a consumer, because a lot of things are synthetic. They're chemical. They might say made with essential oils, but then you turn the label and see all of the other things that you can't pronounce that are in them, or you read and find fragrance oil. So there are things that tip you off that they are not 100% pure. They're not essential oils. They're not that beautiful thing that Mother Nature's given to us unfiltered.
Yeah. And maybe I would love for you to just speak into the evolution of some of your products and what, has seemed to really resonate with people, or some of the things that you have learned over the last couple of years while creating these products. Maybe you could educate everyone. So
Yeah.
yes, read the labels like you were saying, and just things are misleading. I don't know how things have changed over the European countries versus here in the US, that some things you can and cannot, have on the shelves, or you
Right.
have to be careful. So maybe you could share some of that with us.
Yeah, yeah. And another thing too with essential oils, people say, what's the shelf life for them since they're not filled with all these preservatives? I use natural preservatives and things like, like a basil oleo resin or rosemary oleo resin. But something like an essential oil, it needs to be kept out of direct sunlight. It needs to be, in a space where it isn't too hot of a temperature. So I love using a couple drops of pure eucalyptus oil in my bathroom, in my shower, and that steam comes up and it's fabulous. And even hanging like a fresh bunch of eucalyptus, sprig on your shower head or something. So that's really lovely, but I don't want to store my eucalyptus in there for the heat. I want to use it and then store it outside. So little things like that, and packaging, dark bottles, things to kind of help preserve the oil integrity. But yeah, I mean, like most things you can have on the shelf good couple of years, which is good. But obviously I want you to buy products, enjoy them, use them, and come back again. But like in terms of packaging, everything I use, I source myself. I have recyclable packaging. Sustainability is always very important. So a lot of my things are very minimal. I'm using glass bottles wherever possible. I do use plastic jars, but they're PET plastic for like my bath scrubs. But that's mainly for safety. I don't want someone to have this beautiful jar. It looks great, but it's not functional. You could drop it on the tile and break, and we don't want that. So,
Sure.
there's times where I have to be considerate about, using plastics and such, but I try to minimize as much as I can.
So we'd love to hear more about what type of products do you sell?
Oh.
And you have a diversified variety of different things. I think when I saw you, I kind of bought one from each, type
Yeah,
of like oil, then I did
right.
the bath. So maybe you could
Yes.
share that with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So body oils, obviously, anything for the skin for nourishing. So oils are great for that. I have beard oils for the facial hair.
Mm.
I have the body and hand lotion, which is wonderful. And everything, by the way, is plant based. It's all natural, so it's vegan friendly. Like I said, there's nothing synthetic. I add all of the oils on the label so people can actually see very transparently what's in it, and that's sort of what that clean beauty movement is about, has having that transparency, and not using those chemical fillers and synthetics. Um, I've also moved into the bath products. So that wasn't something I launched with. After I was doing this for a year or two and people would talk to me and I was making my own things and perfecting my recipes, I moved into exfoliating scrubs. I moved into bath bombs. My new thing actually is shower tablets, which we'll be releasing soon,
Oh, wow.
which are really nice. So you kind of pop them in the shower and they steam, and you can get that beauty of the essential oils. I use eucalyptus and peppermint and juniper berries. So it's a
Wow.
really nice kind of refreshing, reinvigorating scent. Yeah, and then I've even branched out into jewelry. So diffuser bracelets, being able to put a little essential oil of a blend that I've created, and then you wear it and you have a wonderful scent all day. So I've tried to move
Yeah.
into things that I think work really well, but are still centered around that natural,
Yeah.
holistic approach.
What about essential oils for like, I hate the Glade plug-in things.
Yeah,
Well, that
with the
and
diffuser.
the
Yeah.
car. Like, so are
Yes.
you doing anything maybe for that?
It's
Different?
funny. I looked into it because what I'd want to do is purchase something that's sustainable and lovely and
Yeah.
functional, as a mechanism rather than building it. But the oils, yes, I do have oils that I sell for like diffusers, which would absolutely go
Yeah.
onto something like that. I actually just started a partnership with a sauna and salon here, a hot sauna and cold steam shower um, company here in Philadelphia, and they're using some of my essential oils as part of their sauna package, infrared sauna package. So
Wow.
that's kind of exciting. Yeah. So starting to kind
Yeah.
of branch out and talk with the businesses locally and see how we can fit in is pretty cool too.
I was going to say, you certainly hustle and you just jump on wonderful opportunities. And I mean, all the better for people to understand and to educate people on all the toxins, that
Yes.
toxic overload when we're ingesting it in our skin, which is one of our largest organs. And people are like, well, I'm eating healthy, but my hormones are off, and they don't realize it's all the chemicals, right, that we ingest. So
So
what
true.
through what you're doing, I guess you have learned a wealth of knowledge about that. Maybe you could share with people about that toxic overload that we
Yeah.
have
I mean,
going on.
yeah, like you mentioned, I mean, we are what we eat. We are what we put on our bodies. So a lot of my products, well, all my products are actually topical. But when you think about food and diet, and I won't go too far into that, but like if you eat organic, you're probably healthier and feel better. And essential oils are similar. If you buy organic, that's awesome. I
Yeah,
can't afford to buy 100% organic, but I pick and choose the things that I know are big staples, and they might
yeah,
be the organic oils that I buy. For example, lavender. It's like the goat of essential oils, right?
mm,
Greatest of all time. Anyone who really knows essential oils knows this one. It's a staple. It's the only oil you can use directly on your skin. But what's fantastic about it is it's pure and it's a natural antimicrobial properties. So you have things like if you get a little cut or a scrape, if you're gardening, pop it on your hand. If you burn yourself in the kitchen, pop it on your skin. It's actually good for
mhm.
burns. It sounds counterintuitive since it's an
Wow.
oil,
Yeah.
but it's the only one that you can use on your skin without a carrier oil. Um, Obviously, it's fantastic for bug bites. You can put it directly on them. Headaches, you can rub your temple on your pulse points. Just the smell of lavender can help someone calm and relax. We use it a lot in products to help people with insomnia or for stress. So you'll see
Yeah.
lavender, Roman chamomile is another one that I absolutely love. But yes, so looking at like organic lavender, yes, I will always buy organic when it comes to that. So just being kind of considerate of the labels there as well.
That's awesome. And so is it difficult to find all of these different, ingredients that you package, or do you find that you're shifting and looking, elsewhere? I mean, I guess
Yeah.
obviously you want something that's all natural. So
Yes,
how does
that's
that all work?
yeah, that's always my priority. A sustainable resource because I can buy in bulk. It's really great because sometimes if you buy an oil, you might spend $30 for a third of an ounce of 0.33. So it's it's something that kind of gives me the luxury to buy some of the more exotic ones because I only need 5 or 6 drops for this or 20 drops for that, and a little goes a long way. Which is great. But over the years, I think I've evolved the types of carrier oils. So working with
Mm,
shea butter now, hemp seed oil, which is fantastic. Just anything other than the usual suspects. You can go beyond, almond oil and jojoba oil and coconut oil and fractionated coconut oil, and there's just so many different things. So that's neat. That's fun to kind of explore, as well as the oils too. So some of the more unique ones,
mm,
like I had never heard of helichrysum, which is a great healing one, or melissa. So there's just so many really nice ones over the years I've kind of learned beyond your normal
sure.
peppermint and lavender and eucalyptus or
Yeah.
tea tree. Yeah.
And so do you find that your family are your biggest cheerleaders? I mean, I don't know how old your kids are, but like,
Yes.
are you seeing that they're interested in,
Yes.
the different things that you have created, or do they help you out?
Absolutely. I am very, very fortunate to have a very awesome, supportive family. So anything I do, they believe in me, and they've always been my test subjects, which is great. We never test on animals, only humans. And if family and friends like it, then it becomes part of the rotation. But yeah, my son is 9 and he's a little entrepreneur. He has his little businesses at school. So I think that sort of inspired him. And he's worked with me before. We've actually made a spray called Grace, which is beautiful. He sat down with me, he smelled all of the oils, and we came up with a nice vanilla and bay laurel or laurel leaf essential oil, and it's become a spray and a cream. And I have a couple of people on Etsy that order from me pretty much every 6 to 8 weeks, to restock. So I'm like, wow, you're one of my best sellers. And my 9-year-old son at the time was 7, helped me with it. So so family's a big part. And an amazing husband who is sort of my facilities manager. He helps me with all the heavy lifting and, getting me set up at markets and stuff with, the tents and, all the schlepping that has to happen with all that. So.
Oh, yeah. All the behind the scenes. And
yes, he's my muscle.
So, I'd love to know. So the Grace, it's a spray.
It's a spray.
So maybe you could explain the essential oils that are in it and what is it? Is it calming or what is it?
It's funny. So it's actually quite calming and uplifting, if that makes sense. So imagine being able to kind of have a scent that kind of grounds you and then opens you up. So that's what I would say Grace really is. The bay laurel smell is lovely. It's very natural, a little bit spicy. The vanilla is a little bit warm. So I think it's a very warming, calming scent, but at the same time, it makes you feel really good, very happy. The spray is nice. I call my sprays sort of environmentally beauty spray. So you can use it on your face, your body, anywhere in your environment. It doesn't stain. It's all natural. So you can use it on your fabrics. So you want to freshen up pillows or curtains if you want to freshen your bedding. I have an oil that's called Sleep Like a Baby, which is fabulous for linens and bedding and pajamas. But really, any of the sprays could be good for that. I have one called Sunshine that's a citrus-based one, and that one's fantastic to put in the refrigerator because the citrus oils, when it's nice and cold, is very refreshing if you come in out of a hot day gardening, if you've gone for a jog, anything like that. It sort of refreshes you instantly and also uplifts and energizes. So, yeah.
Oh, I love that. And I love that sorry about that. You create things seasonally too. So, with like uplifting orange or something like lemon or just when you're just overheated and that's lovely too. So, wow. As a child, you were saying how, you were always kind of gravitating towards this. And prior to this, what were you doing?
Well, my full-time job is actually in advertising. So I'm a global operations lead. So I work with clients and manage our agency team globally. So I'm busy with that, which is fabulous. But this is sort of my side hustle that I hope will become something a little bit more full-time brick and mortar down the road. So fingers crossed. But when I was a kid, I was, like I said, very curious. I was a writer. I always had a pen and paper. So I loved research. I loved taking notes on things. If I found something that was interesting, I'd write it down. I have notebooks everywhere of just random thoughts. And a lot of time it was about, things to help you that were natural. And that sort of became, I'd go back and say, something's interesting here. That's something that seems like a problem other people would have. And that sort of provoked me to experiment, use the oils and find different products that might help people. So it's always been sort of in my blood, being a little bit of a chemist and putting things together.
So it's like this subliminal, like subconscious, like you knew somewhere you were going to use these somehow, some way, or utilize all of these beautiful notes and journals. And here you are just pursuing, your passion, which is really great.
Absolutely. And like professionally too, like I said, I studied journalism in college and I'm still a writer. I still love it. I've been published, but my main job is more marketing advertising. So over the last 20 years, I've, worked with, business strategies and objectives and, brand positioning and brand identity. So basically everything I need for my small business. So I've actually been able to just sort of, jump in and kind of manage all of that myself, from the identity to the packaging, to the marketing, to the, social media I could be better at, but hopefully things like this help. It's hard to be self-promoting, but they're all things that I think my experience in marketing and advertising has certainly helped.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful blend, and all of those.
No pun intended.
Right? Yeah, really, no pun intended. And all of the things that you've mastered and all of those tools are just coming together, which is really awesome. So I would love for you to share with everybody how they can connect with you, find your amazing products. And if there's anything you also want to share, if you're coming out with anything new for summer, or
Yeah.
please let us know.
Thank you. I love it. But one of the big things I wanted to say is you can find me on fullmoonblends.com. That's the website. I do have a link for the Square retail part of my website where you're able to purchase all my products. And like I said, I ship everywhere. And then I also have an Etsy shop. So my shop is Full Moon Blends on Etsy. So either way, you can find me there. One of the new things I've been doing now that we're out of that virtual world is blending parties and workshops
Oh,
with people. Yeah, so it's really cool getting together with 5 or 6 girlfriends or friends, and having a night where you're drinking wine spritzers and you're making spritzers or blending lotions. So they're fun things that I've been doing. As well as working with some of the universities locally here in Philadelphia, doing sort of pop-up wellness events, which are fun, so where you get to meet a few people over a couple of hours, educate them about aromatherapy, how they can incorporate essential oils into their life, and of course, check out the products, bring some samples for them to try, So I've been trying to do more outreach in those senses as well, rather than just straight retail.
yeah, that's so creative. And I forgot to ask you, so, for an infant, babies,
Mm-hmm.
toddlers, I mean, it's all natural,
Yeah.
this is something that you can actually use for little ones. Is that correct?
Some things I will always
Okay.
caution with essential oils. The one that I feel like is safe for everyone, from baby to elderly, is lavender oil. So that is
Oh,
one I will always say. But there's certain ones that you have to steer clear of if you're pregnant
yeah.
or if you're nursing. So I would always say I don't have anything that, and as well with pets too. So keeping in
Mm,
mind other people that are going to be, affected by the oils. So I try to find things that are not in that category.
yeah.
But I do always, when I have a customer that is pregnant or expecting, I try to take caution with the oils that they're choosing. But there's nothing that I'm using in the blends and the dilution that I'm using that would be, toxic or affect
Yeah.
anyone in any negative way.
Yeah, that's interesting to know. So, wow, this has been so nice. I really have just
Thank you.
had, I've learned so much today. And
Oh,
obviously, I
great.
just really enjoy all the different products that you have. And when you come out with I'm going to check out your website for the shower. Uh,
Yes, the shower
oh,
towels.
yeah,
Yes, and
that,
actually, I think I
yeah.
have one here. I'm still perfecting
Oh,
the
let's
recipe.
see what it looks like.
Pretty soon it should be on the website. So this is really cool. So this is all handmade, like I said, and it's a little tablet that you pop in the shower. The heat and the steam kind
Yeah.
of release the oils, so you're getting this gorgeous blend of
Wow.
eucalyptus, juniper berry, and peppermint. So it's very good for congestion, clearing your head, just sort of reinvigorating and energizing. And the last good 10 or 12 minutes. So hopefully you're not taking showers longer than that because we don't want to
Yeah.
waste water. But
Wonderful.
it's a nice way to have a little spa experience in your bathroom, right?
Absolutely. And I also want to check out Grace, the spray. That sounds
Yes,
so good.
yes,
Uplifting yet calming. It's
yes.
such
At
a
the same time,
beautiful,
yes.
yeah, that's so cool.
And
So,
there's little rose quartz crystals in that one, which is a lovely gemstone that kind of helps with that as well. Kind of feeling good, matters of the heart, uplifting.
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you, Michelle. This has been
Yay!
really great.
Thank you, Leslie. I've loved it too. Thank you so much.
And we'll circle back. I'd love to have you back on just to see what you're doing. You're so creative, and just I love how you're just doing that outreach and really educating people, because I love to hear when people, use natural ways, alternative ways of just calming, de-stressing,
Yeah,
and also putting more natural products on our bodies, which is so important. So,
absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to say anything wrong with medicine. I use what I need
yeah,
to,
right.
but
What
when
we
you can
need to.
supplement that, when you can use something that's natural, that should really be the first place to start, in my opinion.
Absolutely. So thank you again. And thank you for all our viewers and listeners. Just remember to get out there, ground with Mother Earth, just enjoy this beautiful weather that we're having here. And remember to get out there, ground with Mother Earth, and keep it dirty. Take care, and thanks again.
Bye.